We interrupt this program to bring you breaking news on the resolution of the controversial Aroostook War.
That's right. We are now receiving reports of the resolution of the United States Representative Daniel Webster and the British Representative Alexander Baring, first Baron Ashburn, which should be able to finally settle the drawn-out conflict.
As you can see, negotiations are well underway in the Washington State Department building, where we hope this issue will be resolved quickly. For our viewers not following this conflict, the Aroostook War began as a result of border obscurities between British-Canadian territories and northeastern parts of Massachusetts, now Maine, as outlined by the Treaty of Paris in 1783.
Yes, since the founding of our young nation, the region along the Aroostook and St. John rivers have been settled by various nationalities with different claims to the land. When Maine received statehood as part of the famous Missouri Compromise of 1820, it began government actions in the disputed regions such as censuses, marriages, and the sale of government lands to private individuals. Massachusetts remained vested in these land sales due to the fact that Maine territory had once belonged to Massachusetts.
Shortly after, in 1825, the Miramichi Fire destroyed about one-fifth of British New Brunswick's forests and many of its towns. This caused many of New Brunswick's lumbermen to move to the Aroostook River Valley in search of much-needed resources. Besides the American and British settlers in the valley, the area is primarily settled by descendants of the original French colonists.
Local tensions increased greatly in 1830, when Maine census takers John Dean and Edward James tended to create their own town of Madawaska as part of Maine along the St. John River. While this was supported by a significant portion of the local populace, other residents informed the local New Brunswick militia, who broke up a tent in the town hall to select representatives for the process of gaining township. Our studios retrieved a short audio recording taken during the disruption.
As an intermediate arbitrator, King William I of Netherlands proposed a boundary to resolve the issue. The British and American governments accepted William's proposal, but the state governments of Maine and Massachusetts refused to approve the boundary, and the issue was once again left unresolved.
Many wondered if today's decision would yield better results, as states' approval is required for the treaty to take effect.
That's very true, Dave, but somehow the great compromiser, Daniel Webster, has done it again. In the years since 1830, local hostilities have increased dramatically, despite never reaching direct conflict with military forces. The most notable of these hostilities was the Battle of Caribou in late December 1838, a conflict between British and American woodsmen near the Aroostook River.
In light of today's events, we have recently been given permission to release controversial footage of the battle taken by Ron's reporter Julio Van Julio. This footage depicts the hostilities from the viewpoint of New Brunswick lumbermen at the scene of the battle.
Don't fire. If we shoot at them, they'll start shooting at us.
I'm Julio Van Julio, and I'm here on the scene near the Aroostook War, another name.
Yankee filth.
Excuse me, southern New Brunswick, where local woodsmen have taken arms in a dispute over territorial claims and logging rights in the region. Excuse me, sir, what is your name?
I call myself Bill Wallace.
What are you fighting for, Bill?
I and a whole army of my countrymen are here in defiance of tyranny. We've come to fight as free men, eh?
Why fight and die against America? Wouldn't you rather run and live?
Aye, fight and we might die. Run and we'll live, at least a while, eh? And dying in our beds many years from now, would we be willing to trade all of the days, from this day to that, for one chance, just one chance, eh? To come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Well, that may be, but at what risk is it?
The Yankees shot them! Run!
Powerful stuff.
Yes, it is, John. Which is all the more reason that we hope today's historic treaty finally settles a terrible conflict.
Although we must remember that local conflict has largely been diffused thanks to the mediation of our own General Winfield Scott, who managed to negotiate a temporary agreement with New Brunswick Governor Sir John Harvey.
That it has.
I've received word now that negotiations are being finalized on the floor. It seems like Webster and Ashburn have finished drawing up their treaty and are now putting their signatures on the document.
The question now is how Webster got the Maine and Massachusetts governments to agree to this treaty.
If I may be allowed to editorialize, John, I believe... No, I've just received more breaking news. Daniel Webster has just released a map from the Paris archives, a map marked by Benjamin Franklin himself in 1782, which reveals that a fair amount of land that Maine will cede to Britain did in fact belong to Britain originally before the treaty.
This must be how Webster convinced Maine and Massachusetts to agree to the treaty.
Yes, I suppose it is. Do you think it's possible that the map is fake, used to speed up negotiations?
Well, we just may never know. Here from the PATR News Network, I'm Dave Davidson.
And I'm John Johnson. Good evening, America.